it says we're going on.
We've gone to plaid.
Now we've gone plaid. We've gone straight to plaid. Anyways, what we've really gotten to is a Sunday morning. We so rarely meet on Sundays or on the weekends in general, and here we are on a Sunday morning, boys. We're skipping church, heathens and heretics that we are. And instead of going to the house of worship of our choice, we've decided to sit in front of our other altars and talk to each other over the computer. So, as usual, it is the Ludocast crew. But this time it's not so usual. It's a Sunday morning. So, good morning, Seth and Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing today?
Well, I would be good if I hadn't seen the Fantastic Four yesterday.
Ouch! Immediately, he jumps right into it. It's pretty intense, dude. So the Fantastic Four completely ruined your day, your weekend, I guess. It's bled over into today.
Yeah, like I couldn't even sleep. It was so bad. I actually watched like 3 DC animated cartoon movie things in a row because I needed to get out of my head the horror of what I had watched.
Just had to wash the bad taste out of your mouth.
Yeah, so I just like started watching animated DC movies. It was just like I need superhero goodness, not the horror of what I've just witnessed.
Yeah, and those movies were those animated DC movies are actually all pretty good. I enjoyed them. So, anyways, here's a picture of what Seth is really.
Oh, my eyes! I don't
really not feeling.
I will go on record and say it is the worst comic book movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh man, it's worse than Elektra. Elektra was really bad.
Yes, I saw Elektra in theaters, and I regret that less than I regret this.
All right, you know what I do not regret? The fact that my bookmarks have nothing incriminating in them, even though I'm broadcasting them out. I might have to crop this video. No, there's nothing in there that's bad. Fantastic. So anyways, you guys can get a look at my bookmarks. But secondly, worst... Wow, Jesus, dude, that's really insane. So, all right, here's my thing. I don't want to take the wind out of the sails of your show. First of all, I do want to put over a little bit of what's been going on. Calvin, every other day, has been putting up gameplay footage of Gravity Ghost on the LudoPress YouTube channel. He's been doing a Let's Play of it 20 minutes at a time. And it's been pretty fantastic, steady content. So major props to Calvin for doing some great gameplay footage work there. But you guys have got your superhero show, which I don't want to take the wind out of the sails of because I only want to talk about Fantastic Four for a little bit. The only reason we hit the record button was because we started talking about it and we realized that it was going to be a decent conversation. Now, the previous 2 Fantastic Four movies that are popularly accepted.
Yes. The what is his name?
Fassbender, Alba. I'm not talking about the director. I'm talking about who was in it. Evans, Chiklis.
Yeah.
Right. And young Gruffle.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Because Fassbender was Dr. Doom. Those movies they were awful, right? Okay, so they're really bad, just not good films. But their Dr. Doom was another Victor Von Doom guy who wasn't the ruler of Latveria.
No.
Right. And then in this Fantastic Four movie, I highly doubt that Victor Von Doom starts off as the ruler of Latveria, right?
No, he is a emo punk kid who is really enamored with Sue and is angry at the government.
Okay, why are filmmakers... This is the crux of my question, ready? Why are filmmakers so afraid of making Victor Von Doom ruler of Latveria like he's supposed to be?
He doesn't actually enter the film outside... So, the first half an hour of the film, okay? This is probably the single worst thing about... I can't even imagine who thought this was a good idea. The first half an hour of a film shows Reed and Ben, when they were kids, creating a teleportation device. You don't meet Sue or Johnny until 45 minutes into the movie.
That's pretty awful.
And you meet Doom maybe 50 minutes into the movie. They don't get their powers until over an hour into the movie. at which point they spend the next half an hour just talking and being really depressed. And they don't. The only battle in the entire movie is both the first and last battle of the movie. It's the final 10 minutes where they fight Doom and beat him on the first try.
Now, you still haven't answered my question. What is it about Doctor Doom's character as a political figure that it makes it, for some reason, this 2 times now he's been made in with big budget, 2 times. Why is it the 2 times that they've done that they have not made him anything like his comic book persona?
I don't know, but I can say this: as wrong as his interpretation in the previous films were, it was much better than this. Like, every single character, as wrong as some of those characters were, they were all significantly closer to their comic book counterparts in the previous films than they were in this.
Well, that is incredibly disappointing, and I think that Marvel is going to have a lot of reckoning to do if they ever hire this director again, and or if they ever reboot the Fantastic Four again. You think these 4 are going to have any more to do after this movie, or you think they're going to quietly not really do a Fantastic Four tie-in?
They are already talking about replacing Fantastic Four, the sequel, with a Deadpool sequel. And Deadpool hasn't even come out yet.
Wow, they're already banking on Deadpool money. I think it's not surprising they already had a Fantastic Four 2 lined up, considering that's how they play their schedule. But, man, for it to tank this hard, I don't know, man.
It's super interesting looking at what's been going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, let's make the behind the scenes bit the last bit we talk about this, and we'll talk about video games.
Okay. So I just want to mention it because basically the director has essentially said that the studio redid the second half of the film without his permission, and that Matthew Vaughn is actually the director of the Fantastic Four movie you're seeing, that he literally went back, reshot half the movie. And that's why it seems like the first half is leading up to something that never occurs, and then it skips 1 year into the future. Everyone physically looks different. Kate Mara has different hair. It's very obvious that a period of time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
In a real physical, real life period of time, not a movie period of time has passed. It's not there are continuity errors because there were parts of the first half that had to be reshot to fit with the new second half. And so randomly she'll have her new hair just before the second half of the film. And
oh my goodness.
Miles Teller has a beard in the second half, and then randomly in the first half he'll have the beard as well.
Because they did the reshoots of the first half.
Right, because there were a couple scenes in the first half they had to reshoot because it seemed the whole film feels like it's building up to be some sort of horror almost type thing that shows them being psychologically traumatized by becoming the Fantastic Four. And it feels like they're going in this what's going to be this super dark horror direction, and then they just do an about face and ignore, do the 1 year later and skip. It seems like half the movie was cut out of the middle, and they just skipped straight to the ending.
That's really disappointing because even with the problems of the pacing issues, it still seemed like it was leading up to something interesting. And then before they hit that something interesting, they're like, nope, sorry.
Yeah, and so what the studio has not officially commented, but what people are saying is that the original version didn't really have any
payoff, really.
No, I don't know as much that as there was nothing about it that felt like the Fantastic Four, and so the studio tried to redo it to make it a little more standard.
I really wish that they would have not done an origin story again. I do not think the Fantastic Four need to be introduced every single time that they're brought to the screen, and I think it's because they keep feeling the need to introduce the characters over and over again that they end up with these wishy-washy interpretations that nobody really connects with. If they just had Reed Richards at the top of the Richards building like, oh, hey, Sue, how are you? I'm neglecting you because I'm building this thing that allows me to slow down time the closer you get to it. Like, if that was Reed Richards, we'd all be on board.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows how he acts. Everyone knows who Johnny is, and like, the real character dynamic for the Fantastic Four isn't the trauma of their creation and how tough it is to become a team. It's the fact that Reed neglects Sue, and Johnny, is this sort of estranged brother. Ben cannot be physically intimate with anybody. Like, there's interesting things there that even the first two movies sort of touched on with the Ben Grimm story. Right?
Yeah.
And then they just didn't touch them at all. Like,
Yeah,
so,
the most damning thing I guess I can say about this movie is that this picture you have up, that is their final costumes by the end of the movie. They do not even become the Fantastic Four. They do not say the word Fantastic Four in this movie.
yeah.
None of these characters are spoken. None of their like superhero names, like they don't call him Mr. Fantastic ever.
Or Sue
They
Storm.
don't call it. They are all referred to by their standard names. They never call themselves Fantastic Four. They never use any of their powers to save anyone in the entirety of the film outside of they killed Doctor Doom. So I guess that,
I guess
that's
they're
safe.
murderers.
but that's literally the only thing that. Okay, Ben and Sue never speak. They never interact with each other. They never even meet during the entire film, except for off camera. You assume they must have spoken, but there's not a single scene where those two characters ever acknowledge each other existing.
Maybe this is that Chronicle director just making this movie super Chronicle. Like, nondescript. We just are powerful kids. And we're just powerful.
It seems like that's what he was going for. Like, it seems he was going for some sort of, like, darker, realistic, this is what would happen to people who actually got superpowers, and this
That's
is how
exactly
it would mess
what
up
it
their
looks like.
teenage mind.
Yeah.
Except then the studio was like, no. And so we didn't even get that. We just got something even worse, which is it leads up to that, is about to start happening, and then skips to a year later and just ends.
After that, 1 year later, they should have all had 4 somewhere on their uniform if they really wanted us to believe that they were the Fantastic Four and not just 4 teenagers with superheroes. You know what someone should do? Just airbrush out or take out with Photoshop the Fantastic Four part of this. It'd be a fantastic. You could put up any name. You can call it anything. And then I think that's, like you said, that's one of the biggest problems with it. It just has it has nothing that like makes it any better than anything that's not the Fantastic Four. So, end of this discussion.
Yeah, do not watch the Fantastic Four.
So, in case you couldn't tell, we're encouraging everybody not to go see Fantastic Four. And Mike didn't say.
I think I should also mention that I am not the type of person who dislikes slow movies. I don't need a ton of action scenes. That's not my issue. And my issue also isn't that it isn't like the Fantastic Four comic. If they want to do a dark, gritty, not Fantastic Four-like version of the Fantastic Four, that's fine. This movie sucks regardless. I loved watching Lincoln. Lincoln was a 3-hour C-SPAN movie. I loved that. That's one of my favorite movies. It has nothing to do with the fact that this was just a slow drama.
So
that it was bad.
Go watch just go see Ant-Man again.
Yes, please go see Ant-Man again. So what video games are we talking about?
Okay. I played a game.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Let's start with Mike. Go on.
I played a game on my PlayStation 4 that is called Gallic Z. Have you guys heard of it?
Z. Yes, I have. It's I'm pulling up a picture of it right here. It's a top-down shooter, right?
Yeah.
Side scrolling.
It's not really. Well, I guess side scroll.
Why don't you tell us? Yeah.
It is. It is this 80s anime or 80s Japanese anime style roguelike where you are a ship. you are the last defender of Earth, supposedly, or just the galaxy, and you are tasked with saving humanity, sort of. But the interesting thing is that when you play, instead of there being missions, there are episodes, right? So, and then there are 5 missions per episode, and I'm sorry, 5 missions per season, or 5 episodes per season, and because it's a roguelike, you have to complete all of those episodes in order to move on to the next season or the next chapter. It is, like I said, it's very roguelike, so the levels are procedural. They all follow the basic concept. You'll do some of the same things, but you might not do them in the same order when you run the same missions again and again. And you'll have basic things like, hey, this guy, we found a beacon somewhere in space, and you need to go check it out. And you have a general overall map, but it doesn't tell you anything. You have to go and explore cave systems, and there are bugs in space that you can kill. There are dudes in space that you can kill that are part of rebel factions, or they're outlanders. Those guys can get into fights as well, so you can sort of lure one into the other and watch them fight instead of you. It is extremely hard, but it is extremely rewarding, because once you die, you start over. If you're in episode 2-3 and you die, you have to start back at 2-1 and go all the way to 2-5 and beat 2-5 to get to season 3. I'm doing a terrible job of explaining it, but I have some video recorded, which I'm gonna put up soon.
Good. Yes, please.
Why don't you guys ask me questions and maybe I can...
I have watched quite a bit of footage of it, so I am very familiar with it. I think that something that I don't think you mentioned was that this does not control like a standard shooter. It controls it controls like some... God, I'm trying to think of the last game that it uses inertia and momentum. It takes those into account.
Yeah, I was gonna say your ship is asteroids, pretty much. But you get
it's more than asteroids, because asteroids didn't have the aspect of momentum as much as this does, to my knowledge.
Oh, it totally did. If you got going in one direction, you had to put an equal amount of energy to cancel that movement in asteroids.
Right. There are things that you can do to negate that. You have boost, and you have a side strafing.
A juke,
button.
it says.
Yep, you have a juke. And then once you hit season 2, something crazy happens, and your ship transforms into a mech.
Even better.
And that gives you some additional control and weapons as well. All of the weapons are randomly generated, so you can either find them out in the world via upgrades, or you can buy them with salvage.
I can dig that. About how long would you say it takes to beat the game?
To beat the game? I haven't beaten the game yet. I am only on season 2 because it's so freaking hard. But
are your upgrades are the upgrades to your ship permanent?
No.
Okay.
They carry over into the next season or episode as long as you stay alive. But when you die, you start from scratch.
Gotcha. I'll give this a spin. I have seen it. I think it's on Steam. Pretty sure it is. I'll take a look. I will give it a spin. Seth, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of different things.
Me too.
Let me think what I want to mention. I played a ton of Terraria lately.
Ah, that has a big update, hadn't it?
It did have a very big update. The stuff they updated is all super late game stuff, pretty much. So I haven't actually gotten to any of it.
Gotcha.
But there's they had something like 400 new items or something. Like, it's insane. If you haven't played Terraria since like Terraria first launched, you should go back and play it just because there's so much that has changed.
Well, I really haven't played it since, about that time. I was more of a Starbound guy.
Starbound, yeah.
When
I never
Starbound
played
was
Starbound.
big, when Starbound was really big, I was really big into it. It definitely cooled off a little bit, but the game still has great support. I never really got into Terraria, but I've owned it for years.
Terraria's
So
great.
I might have to go back and give it a shot just based on that being said.
It's multiplayer too, so I think we can all play.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
It is multiplayer.
so.
They've added quite. The other thing they've added that you can see right from the get-go, depending, is I don't know how far any of you got in Terraria before, but there used to be this like black biome that called the corruption that would like spread and corrupt the world, and they've now added a second option where it can, when the world is created, it can either have corruption or it can have some other red biome. I don't remember what it's called now. And it gives you an entirely different set of ores if you do that. So basically, you can have two completely different worlds when you spawn. Like, it's not the same set of ores and biomes every single time as before.
Intriguing.
But there's items that will basically spawn random things, so it's actually very fascinating because, for example, in my world, there's no lead. That wasn't an ore that was spawned in mine, and there's no tin either.
I see.
But I can get that through certain, fancy items. So it's very fascinating to see just the insane variety they've put into things. Like, when it launched, I believe trees were trees regardless of where you were. Now every single biome has unique trees.
Okay.
So you don't just make a wood object, you make a certain type of wood object.
Oh, I see. Like an ash wood or an oak wood or something like that.
Correct.
Okay.
And so there's tons of things. There's tons of things. I've played, according to Steam, 30 hours of it, and I'm not even anywhere remotely near the end game.
Well, I didn't realize that Terraria had such a campaign, like a story.
Yeah, it does. It has the thing that separates it very much from Minecraft and other games of that ilk is that there is an actual campaign and a progression and bosses to fight and such. So there is very much a progression through the game where you go from boss to boss defeating enemies and.
Gotcha.
It does a really good job of always making you feel like you're discovering something new, rather in Minecraft where once you get to a certain point, you sort of know how the mechanics work and you can sort of figure everything out from there. But when you're playing Terraria, the cool thing for me was digging underground, finding a chest, and realizing that chest had like a gravity gun in it, and being like, whoa, okay, what can I use with this?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot more potential for experimentation in Terraria as opposed to Minecraft.
Yeah, and they also, I don't know if it was in this update, it might have been in the previous one, they added switches and wires and such, so they've added all of the logic stuff that Minecraft had that Terraria didn't have at launch.
All right, well, there it is.
Yeah.
Looks like they've caught up on the 2D realm with the current 3D best of the best Minecraft.
Yeah.
So, what else have you? I'm gonna take the mic here for a second and tell you what I've been playing this week.
Okay.
So I pre-ordered this damn game, and I'm still glad that I did. It's kind of wacky, kind of kooky, and kind of tough to play sometimes, but it's called Way of the Samurai 4. Have you guys ever
I've been
heard
looking into this.
Have you guys ever heard of the Way of the Samurai series?
I have heard of it. I've never played it.
So
I've heard of Bushido Blade, and that kind of looks like it.
Bushido Blade is a straight-up fighting game. This,
Right.
But the one thing it does have in common is somewhat realistic sword play. Whereas in Bushido Blade, a one hit can kill you. In this, you still have a health bar and stuff like that. But
Okay.
the way of the Samurai works is you make a character, and he starts off as a lowly samurai, and you play through a series of, I think, 8 or like between 6 to 8 days. I think it's 8 days, possibly 6 days. You play through those days over and over again, like it was Groundhog Day, and you take different paths based on what choices you do during each day. So the way to win is to play through it enough times to kind of get either the best ending or to branch out and see all of the possibilities. And so there's different factions you can side with for different reasons. You can walk up to anybody and tell them that you have the right to kill them if you want to. And then if you defeat them, maybe they'll join your dojo, which you're now the guy in charge of because you went and met the guy who runs the dojo. Or maybe you don't because you don't want to do that during this run. And so you play through it multiple times. The game has a ridiculous sense of humor, as I wanted to highlight by this photo here.
I was gonna say I like how the Kingawa sisters' favorite things are tea ceremonies and quality stroking.
That would be the Kinagawa sisters.
Kinugawa, sorry.
It's all right.
I wasn't paying attention to their names, only the fact that they like tea and quality stroking.
Quality stroking. Oh, the Kodo.
Sure.
Right, dude.
That's what they call it nowadays.
This game has got a really tongue-in-cheek sense of humor to it, which I really, really like about it. And I just the sword play is fairly straightforward and realistic. Oh, here's I've just been taking screenshots. I'm going to share a couple good ones with you guys. Here's a screenshot that I took shortly before reporting this game to Steam. As you know, the Confederate flag is a hate symbol, and having it in the Ghostbusters video game immediately put me on edge. This Civil War exhibit that you visit during the Ghostbusters is just ill-timed, I'm sure, but Ghostbusters should be removed from Steam because you go to a Civil War exhibit and you fight both Union and Confederate ghosts who come out and start shooting at you.
Not okay.
Not okay. So I took this picture and I thought that was a lot of fun because I got back into the Ghostbusters game, which looks beautiful on PC.
Yes, it does.
Been having a lot of fun, so it has some classic.
It still plays good.
It plays great
good too.
It plays great. Yeah. So I've been jumping around a lot, and I don't have any pictures of it, but my current jam is Mount and Blade Warband.
That is a pretty great game.
I was really crappy at it, and then Colin came over and we sat down, and he's just like, "Oh, let's do this, make sure you upgrade your guys." And I was like, "Dude, you just get it," and he explained it all to me. So now I'm pumped. I'm gonna play more of it. I've been playing Mountain Blade Warband.
I suck at that game so badly. That game has no tutorial.
Yeah, it does. Kind of. No.
Not really.
Yeah.
Especially like. It has a bit more for the actual in-game combat, but as far as playing through the campaign and knowing what to actually do...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't tell you anything.
So, I probably put dozens of hours into that game. I still have absolutely no clue what to do.
I sort of feel the same way. And you know what I did? I sat down with somebody who knew how to play, and they explained it, and I got it. And now I think I'm going to be good. Maybe. We'll see. I still don't know anything about how to command my troops or anything like that, but I'm sure I'll find out.
It is a tough game to get a hang of, but it is really cool.
And you guys have the campaign's not up until tomorrow, but World War II Online. I wrote an article about that last week, and
yes, you did. That got some coverage. Yeah.
It did get some coverage. As a result, I got some game time, and so I'm in the game now, playing it a lot. But the campaign ended this week with an Axis victory. The Axis actually completely took over Europe, and I think they got the majority of the map and ended it. It was the longest campaign in the game's history. And it was a come-from-behind victory. From literally an almost complete defeat, the Axis were able to cut off the Allied advance and then just steamroll their way back to the Atlantic Ocean. and
I really have to get that game to
wow.
work.
It's not working on your machine, eh?
I still can't get it to work. I think I'm just going to try and reinstall it and download it again and just start from scratch. But
now, the campaign is currently not running, so I don't know how that affects your ability to log in, but either way, it's a little rough around the edges, like I said, but I've got to say it's fun with friends. It's really fun with friends, so got to give it a
That's what counts, right?
That's really all that
That's
matters.
why we play. That's why we play video games, because they're fun.
So, has anything been happening decently news-wise? Seth, you got anything for us? Just want to.
It was Gamescom this past week.
Oh my goodness! I didn't even look at the news. Was there any big announcements from Gamescom?
Mostly
not
Microsoft
announcements, but Microsoft had a massive press conference and they showed off Scalebound.
With a video.
Yeah,
yes.
With gameplay video of dragons and you fighting.
Do I need to go? I probably should go see this video.
Yeah.
You said it's so matter of factly.
It looks great, but it was a little bit different from what I was expecting it to be. It's a little more RPG than a little more standard Platinum that we're used to.
I thought, like, when they announced it, it looked to me like they were trying to go in a sort of Monster Hunter-y route, just with Platinum gameplay, and which sounded like the best thing in the world, and that's what it's looking like it's kind of turning out to be.
It looks like if Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy, and Monster Hunter had a baby. Yeah, that's what this game would be.
Well, that works for me, dude. I am watching the 5-minute Gamescom 2015 gameplay trailer. I fast-forwarded just a little bit. Yeah, dude. When I saw the first trailer, all the vibes that you guys threw my way were exactly what I was thinking. Oh, a little Monster Hunter, a little Devil May Cry, a little DMC. But telling me that it's got a little more RPG element to it is not something that's going to upset me.
No, not at all. Not in the least bit.
You know,
I'm excited. It's got 4-player co-op too.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That is interesting. That's going to be sick. See, the fact that it's also you and a buddy dragon is in what looks like a competent buddy dragon game. There are some games that have buddy dragons that aren't very good, and it looks like it's going to be a really good one. And I mean, Platinum makes good action games. That's one thing they've hardly ever let us down on, if ever.
Yep.
That I can think of. Story, sometimes, they let us down. General execution, maybe, but action, never. Like, that's the whole reason the company was formed. So I am super pumped. And honestly, this game was the game that got me to buy an Xbox One. I would have gotten a PS4 if it had been on both systems, but because I knew Scalebound was going to be an Xbox One exclusive, I had to get it. Now, if Scalebound's coming to PC, it looks like I can sell my Xbox One tomorrow. But
so far, I do not think they have said that.
All right.
Their press conference was super heavily focused on Windows 10.
I'm telling you, dude, if they want to be like, and anybody who buys Scalebound for the Xbox One, we can also get it for Windows 10.
I have a article from PC Gamer that Scalebound, Crackdown 3, and Quantum Break aren't coming to PC.
Okay. Well, then, if that's it, this is the thing. Subject to change. Everything that they say, every word they say, is subject to change when it comes to a game release platform. I won't believe anybody anymore, and that's not skepticism. That's realism. I will not believe any publisher when they tell me, oh yeah, it's just not going to come out for that platform. Like, if it's one of the big three and it's to PC, there's no reason to assume they won't change their mind at any given point in time. So
especially one that I will heavily assume will eventually hit PC is Quantum Break, because every game Remedy has ever made has eventually come to PC.
Right, and Alan Wake was like, oh yeah, Xbox 360, that's it. It's like the 360 killer app. Not going to see this on PC. A couple of years later, it's on PC.
Right, exactly.
And so with this, I'll respect the fact that it's going to be an Xbox One exclusive. That's why I bought the damn system. I'm just hoping that people are going to play it, and I'm looking forward to playing it with you, Mike, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And can we talk about Quantum Break now, because that was my favorite part of the show.
Oh, they had
Yeah,
an actual gameplay trailer for
yeah,
Quantum
they
Break?
did.
They had gameplay trailer, and not only that, but they have totally like changed the character models in the game to real actors.
Oh, I see. I'm watching the gameplay trailer right now.
Yeah, they announced the full cast, not the full cast, but all of the main actors for the show portion, and obviously the in-game models now look like the actors from the show portion.
I see that. The main dude looks very different.
Yeah, it's
And
Sean Ashmore.
Sean
I
Ashmore.
think it's one of the. Yeah,
These
he was
visual
Iceman.
effects are amazing.
I know it right
Like-
off the bat. You can tell that it just visually it looks really, really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you exactly what his powers are doing or how the powers are working aside from some time manipulation, but it looks incredible. It looks
Right.
so
I mean,
good.
Let me tell you what I think every time I see this game in action.
What?
They've shown several times late in the trailer, they show this, the enemies who can also manipulate time.
Oh.
And every time I see that, I think to myself, this isn't a good idea. You're taking the hook of your game and giving the enemies the ability to circumnavigate that. And I feel like this
Well,
is
it
going
kinda
to be
looks-
a game where the
Wait,
first
wait.
half is super fun, and the second half is not.
Okay, I see now, Mike. Before you respond, I gotta say I see exactly where Seth is coming from in two different ways. One, you're from a gameplay point of view, you're right. It sucks when the enemy gets your ability. Two, I kind of like when that happens on a certain scale, because then you end up with things like super stormtroopers or fighting Jedi as a Jedi, and you have these moments where all of a sudden it's not just a game; it's like it's an even playing field. And when games abuse that, you end up with the situation you're talking about. So
The thing is, in a case of something like a Jedi, fighting another Jedi is fun because the Jedi has inherently cool powers that are cool regardless of if they're being used against him, whereas time manipulation powers, as soon as you have an enemy that isn't affected by them, then it's just a normal shooter. You've just made a cover-based shooter then.
well, watching these enemies, and now I am now at the part of the trailer where he's fighting enemies who have the time manipulation powers, and watching how they're moving, I gotta say that it does change the rhythm of the firefight.
Right.
Whereas he is the fastest thing alive when he's fighting humans, when he does the area manipulation in this, it really seems like the enemies don't just ignore it. They are using their own abilities to move through it in an interesting way. And sometimes even not being able to, they do get caught in it. And when
Yeah,
it's like once you outmaneuver them and they get caught in their own game, that's when you can really like take advantage of them. So I'm pretty excited. And Remedy is they're a fantastic company. And,
Yeah.
Like this is just going to be another smash hit in the way that Alan Wake can be confirmed as a smash hit for that company. So it looks like I've got at least 2 games now that are exclusive to the Xbox One that I will have to buy.
Yeah. And they also showed gameplay of Crackdown 3.
Oh, now see the Crackdown series has always been entertaining. Now is Crackdown 3 like already looking like it's the best Crackdown ever?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Definitely.
What would you say
Because
makes it such?
the environment is 100% destructible.
Oh, that would make it the best Crackdown ever. I am now watching the trailer.
As soon as buildings start coming down, then it's like, okay. I think you'd love it, Joe, because it's heavily reminiscent of Mercenaries.
Oh, dude, yes. Okay, as soon as you name a pandemic game, and as soon as you... Yeah. If it's anything reminiscent of that with full destructibility and all that, I'm totally sold. I loved... and I've got Crackdown, so... I'm all about it.
It looks like that the destructible environments are it's gonna be multiplayer only. It's not gonna actually be in the single player game.
I think it is going to require an online connection, most definitely.
Well, yeah, but if there's a separate single-player campaign, they might need certain buildings to always be standing.
It's going to be interesting. I do hope they, like, So here's on one hand, if the destructibility is being done server side because the buildings the Xbox One does not have a powerful enough CPU to do those physics calculations. So if they keep the destructibility in the single player, it has to always be connected online.
Hideki Kamiya. He was on stage. Sorry, I just saw him walk out. He's such a badass.
So that is something I could see them not wanting to do. Like, I could see them wanting to have a portion of the game that you could play offline.
Mm-hmm.
But on the same token, I feel like at that point, if it's just going to be another version of the same game we played twice already, then they might as well. Then I just prefer them leave it out and just focus solely on online.
I don't know, dude. I think it's going to be that it might be that situation. We'll have to find out. We'll have to find out with that, but I'm excited. The scale-bound footage looks good to me, dude. It looks nice and fun, and I gotta say that Crackdown looks fun, and so does Quantum Break. Now, Battlefront, I'm probably getting that on PC, to be honest. But I'm pretty excited about it still. Yeah. I'm not letting anybody get me down, because I think that the footage I've seen still looks like fun. I am not upset at all that there's a new Star Wars game coming out.
Yep. At Gamescom, they showed Space Combat, I think.
Yes. I'm watching that Fighter Squadron mode gameplay trailer. This is, flying in space combat, which is pretty cool. Oh, yes, X-Wing interiors. Oh, man. Yeah, it's going to be neat. I know that they're also... One of the weird things that, and I think it's one of the things that people beef about, is that they're segmenting the experience out into separate flying and ground experiences in certain ways, like flying as in like space flying versus the just flying that you do during ground missions, which you can also do. I think people are upset about that, but I think that it's in order to deliver really crisp experiences. And I think that they're doing a good job with it. Based on the look, based on just the look that they've got so far, I can't slight these guys from at least bringing the series back and putting their own spin on it to make it a little better if they feel like it. This is just step one.
Yeah.
And if it sells well, which it will, we'll have step two, and step two will be even better. So it's nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. I have no fear. I am not. I am not a Battlefront. I am not a Battlefront detractor.
So the worst part of the press conference was the Halo 5 portion.
Oh,
agreed.
Where they basically had two esports commentators get on stage and commentate a pre-recorded highlight reel of a match. Ugh. It was so embarrassingly bad. I don't even know how else to say it other than that. It was just horrendous. It's like, okay, it would be fine if it was a live match that they were just commenting on, but the fact that this was pre-recorded footage and that they were reading their lines in an announcer voice but off a teleprompter, it was the most fake forced thing I have ever seen.
That's pretty bad. I am very disappointed in Microsoft for doing that. Why doesn't anybody just take the Nintendo lesson and just do a direct every time? No more press conferences. Don't put people on stage. Who cares? Just do a direct. Take your time. Get some writers. Make it funny. I've switched over now to watching Cuphead gameplay.
That's always fun.
I did not expect it to be so shootery. I thought it was going to be more beat 'em uppy.
Nope.
It's very like Contra almost.
Yeah, and you're not even playing levels really. It's all like boss battles.
It's mostly it looks like it's primarily just fighting these bosses, which I'm interested in. I'm still interested in it because it looks amazing.
It's got
art in this game is stellar. It makes me laugh every time I look at any trailer for this game. It makes me grin. It's so charming. So I am going to definitely be on the Cuphead bandwagon.
That's an Xbox exclusive as well, right? Or is that coming to PC?
I think that's an Xbox One exclusive.
I have to admit that Microsoft's exclusive lineup is looking really incredible right now.
Again, dude, that's why I got the Xbox One. There's only a few things that have made me say like maybe it's PS4 time. and it's not much.
Right.
It's some of the Final Fantasy stuff primarily. You know, I'd really like to play 15 when that comes out.
Is that not? I think it's coming to Xbox One.
That's going to be on Xbox One, yeah.
Well, then my problems are all solved.
I think the Final Fantasy VII Remake has not been announced for Xbox One.
That is one that I'm somewhat, I got to admit, guilty pleasure interested in. Still interested. Even though I've already played Final Fantasy VII, I still want to see what it looks like. You know, might even want to own it. Because if Cody's going to play Final Fantasy VII at any point, he's got to play it. He's going to want to play the new one.
Yeah.
I'll be like, this is the old one, son.
That game is very hard to play. As someone who attempted to play it a couple of years ago, that game does not hold up very well from a gameplay standpoint.
Right.
I'm actually replaying it right now. It's interesting.
It's fun. I love that game. If you get into the classic JRPG sort of rhythm, it's a fantastic game.
It's got a certain charm to it for sure that I really like.
Yeah, definitely. It set a sort of precedent for a lot of JRPG experiences for a lot of people, and whether that's for better or worse, it set that precedent, and then a lot of people just sort of recreated it and tried to recreate it as best they possibly could. So I think the modern RPG definitely has changed a lot, and Japan has lamented for many years that they are no longer the RPG capital of the world. In terms of international sales, Western RPGs clearly dominate that market now. Right. And so I think that the Japanese designers who are younger, we're going to start to see a third generation, like another generation of Japanese designers who are risk takers and who are trying to push a more modern feel in their RPG design. Which is so interesting to me. I know I'm digressing a lot, but that's so interesting to me. A lot because of the current resurgence of JRPGs on PC. PC has been getting a ton of JRPGs ported to it, almost a new one every week, either a classic one or a new one. Tons of JRPGs on PC. Whereas it used to be Sony's game to be the JRPG publisher. Nope, all Steam, all PC. So that's where they see the money's at. How are the consoles going to adapt? Like, how's it going to change? So this is an interesting time. That's basically my whole point. Is that it's an interesting time for JRPGs. The end.
So here's a piece of interesting news, Joe.
Please.
What if I told you that Sega is making a Halo game?
What kind of Halo game?
Halo Wars 2?
Okay, Sega is publishing a Halo game.
No. Kinda.
Creative Assembly is making Halo Wars 2, which was the final big announcement at the Microsoft press conference.
Creative Assembly, the Total War guys.
Yes.
Okay. You know that they're in the United Kingdom, right?
Yes.
So if you told me that Sega was publishing a Halo game, I would not be surprised, because Sega needs money. And if Sega could get their hands on a license that'll make them money, they'll do it. Now, they let go of Bayonetta, the idiots, but for some reason, I have no reason, I would not be surprised at all. It makes perfect sense. Now,
I thought it was a great announcement, and if anybody knows how to make an RTS game or a Total War type game, then it's those guys. And Halo has the perfect setup for it. I mean, there's different types of units. There's different types of vehicles. It all adds up to.
I never played the first Halo Wars.
I played the first Halo Wars.
I never played it. How is it?
It's mediocre.
Okay.
It's completely unremarkable. It's not bad, but it's not great.
Metacritic's giving it a 4 out of 5. So.
Yeah.
IGN gives it an 8 out of 10. Sounds about right. Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing fantastic, but especially for a console exclusive RTS, it wasn't half bad. So what was interesting to me about that announcement is if I was going to give a Sega studio control of Halo Wars, it would have been Relic.
Yes, the Company of Heroes guys.
Right. I feel, but more importantly, the Dawn of War guys.
Yes, well said.
Because Warhammer
small
40K is very, very similar to the Halo universe in a lot of ways.
Yeah, where it has the super-powered super soldiers.
It has Space Marines. It has a very heavy focus on religious cult in the fiction, and like you said, the style of games that Relic makes seem like they would translate to a controller better than the style of games that Creative Assembly makes.
Absolutely. And now I'm reading a article here at mcvuk.com with Creative Assembly's one of the directors, apparently, studio boss Tim Heaton. He says that it will not be a Total War kind of game. It's going to be a Halo Wars game. We're going to work closely with 343, and while the studio's PC team is developing Total War Warhammer, the development of Halo Wars 2 falls to a significant portion of the team who worked on Alien Isolation, which Creative Assembly also did, I think.
Yes, they did.
So, and that game got fantastic reviews. Now, no one finished it. I did read that too. No one, like a very small, like 15% of all players beat Alien Isolation. But apparently the game was amazing regardless. So I think that we have nothing really to worry about it being too Total War-y, but I think that I don't know if it was a scale. I don't know why they would think that Halo needed the visual scale of a Total War game if that's what they were going for, because Relic can't really pull that off.
No.
But what Creative Assembly can do is large locations and lots of verticality. Relic doesn't really do that a lot. So I am looking forward to the locations and the environments that.
So the other thing though is that Relic's games are all very well optimized and work on a very wide variety of computers very well. Whereas
true.
Total War games traditionally push PCs to their limit, and specifically CPU are like literally melted by Total War games. They just have so many units and so many things going on, so many players that the game runs even going as far back as Empire runs like 20 frames per second on my computer.
Insane.
And that's not on high settings, mind you. That's on medium settings. So I'm super surprised that they're going to attempt to make an RTS for consoles because their history of optimization is not great.
Well, they are now working on something that will be very closely tied to Microsoft. Perhaps they will be focusing on Windows 10 optimization.
Yeah.
And working with the new DirectX. What is it, DirectX 13 now we're on?
12.
12? We're on 12 now? Okay.
Yeah, 12. And yeah, I actually, like, the biggest thing I hope from this more than, I get a new Halo Wars, it's, I really hope Microsoft teaches Creative Assembly how to optimize for Windows 10. And the next Total War game will actually run correctly on more than, like, a $5,000 computer.
Well, time will tell. Time will tell, like all things. Gentlemen, I think I'm going to cut and run on our brunch here. I'm going to walk to 7-Eleven and actually get something to eat.
Okay. I was also going to mention the other series I played.
Oh no! Wait, please. And Mike, do you have anything left? Mike,
no.
mute us.
Other than we're playing, I assume we're all still playing Rocket League and how amazing it is,
yeah.
and how much of a tempting mistress she is. And by playing Rocket League, I am not playing Witcher 3, which I desperately need to finish.
Okay, yes, we're gonna talk about Seth's game first, and then we're gonna talk about Rocket League real quick before I go. So Seth, fire off.
I have been playing through the Blackwell series.
Yeah. Oh, the adventure game series.
Yes, correct. The adventure game series, Blackwell. There are 5 games in the series, and they're about this medium and her captive ghost companion of sorts, and they do what mediums do. They help ghosts travel on to the next life, and it's super classic point-and-click adventure stuff, but it's really well done. They have really interesting stories. The puzzles are not difficult at all, but the setup, I think, and the world they create is very interesting.
I'm glad you're playing this, Seth, because I have played the first 2 games, and it's a Watchet Eye joint.
Yes.
And it's absolutely fantastic. It's some of their best writing by far.
I own them for Android, I believe. I just haven't touched them yet.
They're super quick. I have so far played one a night.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, like the first 3 didn't take me more than 2 hours to beat each.
And there's what, like 5 or 6?
There's 5. There's 5, and they take, starting with 4, they get a bit longer. I haven't finished 5 yet, and I've played that one probably longer than the rest of them. So
Gotcha.
They do get bigger and more complex, but the early ones, especially, super quick plays, and not especially difficult. Not the type of thing you're necessarily going to get too stuck on. And it was the type of thing where if I got stuck, it was more because I wasn't sure what to do next. And so that's the type of thing a guide can help you solve.
That is very, very true. So, Rocket League. Seth, have you dived into that yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. Mike and I are obsessed, like everybody else in the world. It is still, I believe, the best-selling game on Steam right now. If it is, it has been for 2 weeks. Let me take a quick look. I kind of want to see now. Rocket League. I got Steam. It's loading the store. It's taking its sweet time, though.
Rocket League is #1.
There you go. It's been there for about 2 weeks, then. I gotta say, it's wow. Okay, so it is a spiritual sequel to a game called Super Acrobatic Rocket Powered Cars or something like that. Super Rocket Powered Acrobatic Cars. I don't even remember. It had a terrible name, which is why nobody knows about it. So this apparently great game with a really stupid name had a sequel, and that sequel is called Rocket League. And it's like they stripped everything out of the game except hit the ball into the goal, and made the graphics killer good looking. And as a result, they hit it's like they were the Black Hammer, just pounding away, and then they just hit it perfectly. Yeah. And then the sword was done, and it was sharp, and everybody was like, "Holy crap!" And it made a pop culture explosion.
And not only that, but one thing I'm really enjoying is that it seems like the developers are actually listening to a lot of the concerns from the fans. For instance, right when the game launched, there was no penalty for quitting or quitting ranked matches. They're addressing that, if not already, in the next patch. They've already announced some DLC, which is coming out soon, if it hasn't already, to add more arenas and different types of cars. And a lot of these little things that where the consumers are addressing, the developers are saying, yes, we need to fix this. For instance, you cannot take a party into a 3-on-3 ranked match, which is crazy, because the whole reason you go into ranked matches is because you have your team of three people and you want to see how you stack up against others. So it seems like they're addressing that stuff as well, and it's really nice to know that they didn't just put the game out and say, well, we started making all this money now, I guess we could just sit back and watch the cash come in.
I've heard talk of mod support, possibly workshop support, so that custom fields and custom cars on the player's client side will be possible in the very near future.
That's great.
And I've made it basically I've made it one of my goals to have a game where I can submit a play to a Play of the Week.
Yes.
I want to make it onto a Play of the Week video. So I'm just flying at every ball now in midair, just trying to hit the crazy ones. It's been fantastic. So I know that we've gone on enough about it, Seth, but Mike and I can also say that I've now noticed when PlayStation Network players are in my game.
Oh, really?
Yes, you will see. I think that they have their little player icon will say PSY Network, And so you'll be able to tell when you're playing with people on the PlayStation 4. But they do not yet have cross-platform party making, but they are going to add that. So Steam players will be able to join parties with PlayStation 4 players.
That is fantastic. We'll actually be able to play a game together someday, and not just by random chance. But
yes, they said that the player pools both come from the same server, so there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to implement it in a future patch. So
fantastic.
I'm kind of looking forward to that. But again, I think I've reached the end of my morning brunch, guys. I think we had a great, long, rambling conversation about lots of different stuff.
Yes, I am full from brunch.
Full from brunch. This one's going to go get full at 7-Eleven with a Slurpee. 7-Eleven brand Slurpee.
Please sponsor us, 7-Eleven.
I'm going to get the big one, too. You know. The big...
Big gulp? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the biggest gulp. I think they used to have like the big gulp, the big gulp. They had one called the biggest gulp, I think. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But now they have this hot dog wrapped in bacon that looks like it'll fit perfectly inside my aortic arch. So I'm just gonna go see if they can put it directly there. I just watched the Simpsons episode about getting a coronary bypass. So now every time I eat, that's what I think of.
It's amazing.
So I'm going to go see if I can get that hot dog. And you guys, I'm going to be playing games later. Maybe we can play something. I might do a little Let's Play of me trying to play Mountain Blade if that's interesting, but we'll find out. Anyways, guys, I'm signing off, saying good afternoon to you. I don't even think it's the afternoon yet. Almost there here in the East Coast.
Still morning.
Oh, thank God. All right, maybe I can make it to 7-Eleven and back before noon. All right, guys. Hey, Mike. Yes.
One last quick thing, PSA. Namco has a Humble Bundle going on right now. That has some great stuff. So.
Oh wait, yeah. We can always take a moment to do a little Humble Bundle talk.
It's got Murdered, Ridge Racer Unbounded, Enslaved, Ace Combat Assault Horizon, Dead Core, Platformines, Pac-Man Championship Edition, maybe some other stuff.
I don't see Soul Suspect on there.
All right, that one's not. My bad.
But yeah, anyways,
I was just reading down my Steam list.
No. You got most of those right. The 660
Dark Souls was the last one, not.
Yeah, I was gonna say for $10 if you don't have Dark Souls yet, for $10 this whole thing is actually really great, and I can just about promise you that the more games coming soon will probably be halfway decent. Because Bandai Namco, most of their games are that should be the tagline. Bandai Namco, most of our games are halfway decent.
Yeah, Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus, like literally totally one of the best games ever.
Absolutely worth it for the lowest, and that's in the lowest tier. You can pay a penny and get that game. It's so good.
Yeah, and Dark Souls obviously great. Ridge Racer Unbounded, nothing like any previous Ridge Racer, but still decently cool game.
Never played
Enslaved.
Enslaved is an awesome game.
Yes.
And
Ace Combat Assault Horizon.
I've never played that.
It's Call of Duty in the skies, kind of. A very cinematic flight simulator game. But I will give it huge props for having a decent story told with a lot of with fast pace, a lot of variety in its missions, a semi-well supported online community in terms of fighting against each other, and being super cheap. It's really a fantastically fun Michael Bay style flight simulator. Nothing about it is realistic, but it is very fun to play.
Okay.
And that's the Humble Rundown.
Guys, I just bought a Humble Bundle live on the Ludocast.
Did you? Which level did you get?
The second, because I have the original Dark Souls on the 360.
Yeah, that's what I did as well.
Okay, so then you and I have an excuse to play Ace Combat.
Yeah.
You'll have to try to see about beating my scores in Pac-Man, which you will never do.
We'll see about that.
And
I actually have Pac-Man, so I can give that one away if we want.
Oh, well, okay. You should give it away. Hey, any first person who hears this and realizes that we're giving away a copy of Pac-Man, just go ahead and say something to any of us on the internet and be like, hey, I heard you, because we'll probably believe you, because you're probably the only person listening right now, viewer number one. I see you down there. I'm pretty sure it's you, Michael Miles, too, anyway, so if you don't have Pac-Man yet, just let us know. I'll get Mike to get you the key. Mike hit me up, and he was like, the RLM guys didn't like Alien Isolation, and they beat the game. It's like, okay, so someone did beat the game and they didn't like it. Fair enough. You got me. But you know what else has got me? Hot dogs, and they're waiting for me at 7-Eleven, where I am not yet
never gonna
moving.
end.
I'm not moving. The show's not over. What the hell? Okay, you need to end the show because I'm hungry, boys.
Shut it down.
I'm hungry. Okay, shutting it down. Say goodnight, Mike, or good afternoon.
Good afternoon, folks.
That's it.
Good
and
morning.
Seth, that works for me.
Good morning.
Good day to all of you. Next time on the Ludocast. Take care.